Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for round number 17 of Season 3 of the Ultimate Driver Career Mode here on F1 2014 with Ferrari. We are here today at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin for round 17 as I mentioned. I do apologise for how long it has been since the last episode, round number 16 at Sochi. How long it's been since that last incredible episode. I make it seem as if every episode's incredible. That sounded big-headed. I completely ignore that. It was a good race, that's what I was trying to say. But, yeah, with F1 2015 coming out in June, I'm trying to stretch this series out, not until the game comes out, but so I'm not left with absolutely nothing to do in the run-up to F1 2015. In the background, you can see the strategy. We're looking at a two-stop at this time, possibly going to move on to the primes for the second stint, possibly not. We'll decide when we get there. But before we put our strategy into practice, it's time for the qualifying report. At a soaked Circuit of the Americas, it would be Danny Kvyat fastest, providing one of many shocks. Mercedes struggled to only 8th and 11th as Jules Bianchi made it through in 7th. However, Sergio Perez will be hugely disappointed after going out in 17th ahead of Jean-Eric Vergne, who was a full 5.2 seconds off his Russian teammate. Q2 would be no less ridiculous and was littered with high-profile casualties. Red Bull, however, were unfazed, taking first and second from Ferrari's Yusufu. Kvyat and Sutil both made it through, along with a lucky Lewis Hamilton in 10th. Alonso, Rosberg and Felipe Massa were all eliminated in 12th, 13th and 14th respectively.
It's a big disappointment, didn't see that coming. I thought it would be easy to be on the front row today, so it's yeah, definitely tough to digest that one.
Q3 would perhaps see the biggest surprise of all as a Brit claimed pole, but it wasn't Lewis Hamilton. Yusufu beat the Mercedes driver by 1/10 to end his 11 race pole run.
I don't know, just wasn't quick enough today, so there's a few places particularly that I was losing out.
Red Bull will be happy with 3rd and 4th, whilst Hulkenberg took a solid 5th. So all of this means that Yusufu, the Brit, would be on pole for Sunday's Grand Prix here at the Circuit of the Americas in front of fellow countryman Lewis Hamilton. Daniel Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel took 3rd and 4th respectively for Red Bull, with Hulkenberg, Jenson Button and Valtteri Bottas 5th, 6th and 7th. Kevin Magnussen took 8th in front of the Russian Daniel Kvyat in 9th, with Adrian Sutil 10th. So yet another pole here at Austin today in the Ferrari. We start first on the grid. It was an abysmal qualifying for our teammate Alonso. He's down in 12th, just in front of Nico Rosberg and Felipe Massa, who equally had appalling qualifying sessions. It was such a hectic qualifying session, ridiculously wet. Just wet weather tyres the whole way through. It was absolutely ridiculous. But now 5 lights on and we are underway here at Austin in front of a very mixed up grid. It's a fantastic start. Lewis Hamilton gets an appalling start. Look at that. We are miles in front in the run down into turn 1, up the hill, down through the hairpin. And what a start it is. Absolutely awesome. Sebastian Vettel, they're moving past Daniel Ricciardo as well, his Red Bull teammate there as they go through turn 1. But what a fantastic start it is here for Ferrari, and doing a very good job, I have to say, from pole position. It was a good pole position in the end. We just snuck it by 1/10 in front of Lewis Hamilton in his Mercedes. The rest of the guys were a long way off the pace. We were helped significantly by the fact there was no Fernando Alonso, but also mainly the fact there was no Nico Rosberg. We haven't been very quick there through that sequence of corners, though, through Sector 1, and that gap that we managed to build up through the first corner after getting such a good start has been eroded slightly by the Brit Lewis Hamilton right behind us in that Mercedes. Sebastian Vettel also looking as if he's showing off a little bit of pace. They're getting away from whoever's in 4th. I will predict that's probably Daniel Ricciardo or Nico Hulkenberg. Both of those guys were quite a way up the order. Also expecting Nico Rosberg to manage to funnel his way through the order eventually. I'm not sure if the same can be said for my teammate Alonso, but obviously with the pace differential between the Mercedes of Nico Rosberg and the rest of the field, probably expect him to be getting up towards the back end of us towards, I don't know, the end or towards the start of the next stint, so maybe not necessarily we won't see him. Well, hang on, right, I'm messing up my words horrendously here. I'm trying to explain something and it's just going just horribly wrong. Even trying to explain how badly wrong it's going is going badly wrong. What I'm trying to say is Nico Rosberg will probably catch this group, so myself, Lewis Hamilton and Vettel, or, you know, a podium position by sort of lap 10. So a few laps after our first pit stop. That's what I was trying to say. So moving on to lap 2, we've got a 7/10 of a second gap over Hamilton. Now moving on to lap 3, and look at that, fast after the race there, 140 something 0.5, I couldn't read it, 45.5. Then on to the next lap, lap 4, we beat that time again. We're actually managing to stretch away from Lewis Hamilton now. In the meantime, we're watching Sebastian Vettel, who is catching Nico Rosberg. Now, so basically what I said earlier was that Nico Rosberg would probably catch us and that group by around about lap 9. Yeah, it happened on lap 5, which is absolutely ridiculous. However, Sebastian Vettel appears to be showing off a little bit more pace now in this Red Bull here as he goes to the inside with the assistance of the DRS. That's the Williams of Valtteri Bottas just behind. And on the inside goes Sebastian Vettel, and now up into a 3rd position onto the podium places. And Nico Rosberg managed to get past Bottas and past Ricciardo, as you can see there on the screen, and also past Vettel there pretty easily. However, Vettel's made his way back through. Now moving back to us, and we've set another fastest lap of the race there now onto lap 5. So we are really stretching away. This is pretty dominant at the moment. Back to Sebastian Vettel, who's now caught up to the back of Lewis Hamilton in the other Mercedes. We're just going to ride on board with him now as we go down the back straight with the assistance of DRS again after, of course, lap 3. Sebastian Vettel then using this to his advantage, he goes to the outside there, and through he now goes on the other Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton. Up into 2nd place goes the German in the Red Bull. He's really doing us a massive favour, it has to be said, because obviously we're battling the 2 Mercedes in the championship. To be honest with you, Lewis Hamilton's probably a little bit too far gone, but Nico Rosberg we can still probably overtake and try and take 2nd in the championship. So Sebastian Vettel being in 2nd in front of both Mercedes is really doing us a massive favour. In the meantime, now moving on to lap 9, and we are into the pit lane for a set of prime tyres. We drop down to 2nd, probably will become 3rd at least, as Hamilton and Vettel also pit behind us. But Sebastian Vettel with a lot of pace in that first stint, Lewis Hamilton not with so much, and Nico Rosberg managing to fight his way from 13th on the grid all the way up into 3rd by the end of the stint. So it was myself, from Vettel, from Rosberg, and then Hamilton, then Ricciardo at the end of the first stint. As you can see, we just filter out in front of Valtteri Bottas now onto lap 9. We'll just skip ahead a little bit now to when people who had the overcut lap now decide to pit. That will be Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Rosberg. So Nico Rosberg will be hurt by this slightly. Sebastian Vettel will leapfrog him fairly easily in the pit lane as we go through past Rosberg as he starts to trundle now down the pit lane. And he may just have a bit of a job holding on in front of Lewis Hamilton with Rosberg, Will Rosberg. We'll have to see. Now moving on to the classification, as you can see there, just confirmation that myself, Vettel and Rosberg decided to choose the prime tyres for this second stint. However, Lewis Hamilton decided to put on a set of option tyres, meaning he will pit a lot earlier than we do, probably get about a 3-lap undercut, and he'll also be a lot quicker in this stint. However, he will have to run the prime tyre for the last stint, so he'll be a lot slower then. As you can see there, pretty much summed up this stint there by the right-hand side. The fact we're in -1 lap of fuel, we're going to have to pretty much fuel save for the majority of this stint because we've got such a big gap, or a fairly comfortable gap over the guys behind there. As you can see, of about 4.8 seconds, we're controlling that and managing that very well. There you can see it's about 6.2 seconds over Lewis Hamilton, who's now up into 2nd place. Of course, on those option tyres, he's managed to breeze past Rosberg and Sebastian Vettel fairly easily. But we're still maintaining a very good gap back to those guys, despite fuel saving and being on the slower tyre in comparison to Lewis Hamilton. But now moving all the way on to lap 21, and we're coming in again, this time for a final pit stop of the day to move on to a set of option tyres. That's something I'm not entirely sure if I've told you already, because mainly I've forgotten. I forget what day it is a lot of the time, never mind what I've told you in this video, but there is a 15% chance of rain in this race, so we're expecting perhaps the last 4 laps of the race to involve some sort of rain. Realistically, it's probably not going to affect the set of tyres that we run on, but it may just make things a little bit more hairy in terms of lack of grip a little bit later on in the race. We've got a terrible exit there actually out of the pit lane. We've been hit there. At the time I thought it might have been Hamilton, but it's actually the back marker Caterham of Marcus Ericsson. Everyone else behind has closed up a little bit due to the fact they all got undercuts on us because we decided to go a lap longer just to make sure that the tyres were fine towards the end. But look at this, on to lap 23, despite being on the option tyres, Hamilton and Rosberg are both there. making moves down the back end of the straight there. Rosberg tries to get the switch back and then just absolutely bashes out wide. We go back up the inside and we're a bit forceful on Rosberg there as well. I think that's pretty much 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, because Rosberg forced us out wide and then we just force him out wide there at the next corner. Lewis Hamilton does manage to get back past his teammate, but this is slightly worrying. The pace we have on these option tyres isn't really as good as I thought it was, as I thought it would be, sorry. And as you can see there, we actually managed to go 3 abreast there with Hamilton and Rosberg down into the hairpin at the end of the back straight. We went a little bit deep, then got pushed out wide a little bit there by Rosberg. So we decided to give a little back and then back up the inside. We went and just tapped him out a little bit wide. That lost him the place there to Lewis Hamilton, his teammate. But now moving on to lap 24, we'll have to see if we can hold on yet again. For some reason, we're not getting much pace out of these tyres whatsoever. Lewis Hamilton bears down us at the end of the straight. Will he go past? I don't think he will. We should just about hold on there to the inside line. We just ease him a little bit wide there, and we do in fact hold on in front of Hamilton, in front of Rosberg, and in front of Sebastian Vettel. Now moving on to lap 25. And even before we get to the back straight, Lewis Hamilton is all over backwards. You can see the tyre wear isn't really that bad, so I'm not entirely sure where our pace has gone, because we were great in the first stint, great in the second stint. Don't know whether the guys behind just have a really good amount of pace in this stint, I'm not entirely sure. But now onto the back straight, and surely Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg and Vettel, all with the assistance of DRS, will be close enough, surely, to God. Lewis Hamilton breezing past there on the outside, even with the prime tyres on. Not entirely sure what's going on. Rosberg thinks about a move around the outside as well, but we managed to hold off in front of him. But Lewis Hamilton is through and through cleanly here onto lap 25. Hopefully that is not the end of it. He's on the prime tyre, so surely, you know, going through the fast stuff and through the corners, we should be able to make gains on him. As you can see there, now trying to go up the inside into this left-hander. We think about it there. We duck out of it. Probably should have gone for the move, really. The move was there. Lewis Hamilton manages to hold on. Now Nico Rosberg will try and get at the inside through this quick right-hand corner. He decides to duck out of it, and now Sebastian Vettel, his fellow compatriot, is all over the back of him. But we do manage to hold on in second in front of the 2 German drivers behind. And now we've got to try and repass Lewis Hamilton. You can actually see on the screen it is starting to spit with rain now, so the rain has arrived. I don't think it'll, you know, really affect things by the end of the races. Now there's only 3 laps to go on to lap 26 with the assistance of DRS now down the main straight. Interestingly enough, we're bearing down on Lewis Hamilton. We go to the inside. Up the inside we go. Will we get it stopped for the first corner? No, we lock up massively there. Will Hamilton get back up the inside? No, he doesn't. He's very slow there through the first corner. Did surprise me quite a lot there, and just didn't go for the move in the end. So we hold on to the lead here just about on lap 26, but now moving on to the penultimate lap of the race, the rain really is starting to get a lot heavier there, and for goodness me, a weird mistake there. Just completely turned out of the corner there, but up the inside goes Hamilton. Rosberg ducks out, ends up losing out to Vettel, and Daniel Ricciardo, who's even caught up. So Hamilton's through into the lead. Ricciardo's now up into 4th past Rosberg. Vettel also passes Rosberg as well. But now onto the final lap. We've thrown away the lead. We still are just about in contact with Hamilton, but look at how heavy the rain is actually starting to get. I think one more lap and we'd be ready for intermediate tyres. But now all we need to do is get a good run out of that corner. We have done. Now onto the back straight. We'll have the DRS. Surely all we need to do is just lunge it up the inside. We've got the slipstream. We've got rich fuel mixture. We have everything. We go to the outside of Lewis Hamilton on his prime tyres. Down into the hairpin. We outbrake ourselves slightly. We've gone wide. Will we make it back onto the track before Hamilton comes through? We lose the back end and Hamilton hits us. He hits us. He loses part of his front wing. And we just came straight back onto the track. Lewis Hamilton loses part of his front wing, but we are still in the lead. The tyre wear is starting to kick in as well. But all we now need to do is hold on in front of Lewis Hamilton and just try and just coast it to the end. I mean, Nico Rosberg's down in 5th as well, so this is going to be huge points gained on him in the championship if things stay as they are. But look at this, drifting almost through this right-hand corner because of the lack of grip due to the wetness of the track. The wet conditions now affecting the track. But as you can see, through the penultimate corner we go. All we've got to do is now navigate the final corner to take yet another win here for Ferrari. Through we go, here in Austin, the Circuit of the Americas, to win. Well, it is a win for ourselves in front of our fellow compatriot Lewis Hamilton, but the way we won it could perhaps be construed as slightly controversial. Of course, coming straight back onto the track, knocking into Lewis Hamilton and him losing part of his front wing. We do take the win for now, half a second in front of Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo in 3rd and 4th for Red Bull. A good day for themselves after a good qualifying too. Rosberg recovers from 13th on the grid to take 5th, but it could have been a lot better for him. Then it's Button, Massa, Hulkenberg, Bottas, and our teammate Fernando Alonso just rounding out the points there in front of Magnussen, Sergio Perez, Daniel Kvyat, Romain Grosjean, and Esteban Gutierrez there in 15th position. Here is how that results or race, I basically combined the words together, how that race affects the Drivers' Championship. Lewis Hamilton now leads by 52 points in front of Rosberg, then ourselves in 3rd. We now need to hope Lewis Hamilton doesn't finish either of the last 2 races and we have to win. That's the only way we can win the championship. Nico Rosberg we can pass, but it would still take quite a lot of effort. You can see the rest of the results there as well. Now moving on to the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes a long way in front, Red Bull distant 2nd, and ourselves pretty isolated in 3rd. Nothing is probably going to change there with Force India in 4th as well, of course, our old team. Here we are though, celebrating in Parc Fermé in front of Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel. After that win, of course, 3 constructors on the podium. That could well be for the first time this season. I don't know. There's a guy who always comments in the comments section, Alex Cameron. If you could tell me whether that's the first time, he always tells me some statistics. So if you could tell me whether that's the first time that's actually happened, I'd be very grateful to know. However, that is not the most important thing out of today. We of course have won. However, our move to stay in front of Lewis Hamilton was not exactly the cleanest. You'll be seeing it in the background in a moment after you see the little clippings of news. And basically, I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to end up having to sit in the steward's office. We're going to have to take a trip to the steward's office because, in all honesty, that wasn't really the cleanest of entrances back, or re-entrances back onto the circuit. So, basically, the stewards are going to have to decide my fate, I think, in terms of a penalty, in terms of a grid penalty, probably. Don't think the results will change from this race, but in terms of a grid penalty for next episode. The slight catch is that probably you guys are going to be the stewards, so I'm going to leave a straw poll in the description below, or of course you can tell me in the comment section what should happen for Brazil, whether that action of coming back onto the track was in fact dangerous and whether I deserve any sort of penalty, whether it be a grid penalty, a 10th place grid penalty, or just sending to the back or disqualification from qualifying in the next race, or whether it deemed no action at all, whether it was just a racing incident. So drop that in the comment section below or in the straw poll that will be in the description. I'll collect all the votes and you guys will see in fact what happens in Brazil for qualifying. In the meantime, feel free to leave a like if you did enjoy this video. 50 likes again would be absolutely awesome on this one. Comment about enjoying if you enjoyed it that much, as well as what you think should happen in qualifying for Brazil. Subscribe if you are new around here as well, but it has been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.